In the aftermath of yesterday's nationwide No Kings protests, which were wildly successful in terms of size and peacefulness, a demonstrably panicked Donald Trump stunned the world by releasing an AI video of him as a crowned king and a fighter jet pilot, airdropping feces and sewage on the American people for daring to protest him, confirming to the world that Trump really does think of himself as a king and he hates Americans, any American who dares disagree with him about anything. It was shocking, even by Trump standards. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, as we've been discussing the No Kings protest, which I participated in here in Charlotte, incredibly successful, and we now have the final numbers, 7 million, 2 million more than the first No Kings protest back in June on Trump's birthday. Now, again, I want you to understand how Trump reacted to this because he was predicting no turnout, nobody's going to show up. And of course, it wildly exceeded expectations and dwarfed anything that was ever pro-Trump, any pro-Trump rally, all the aggregate pro-Trump rallies, just proving that, again, more people hate him than like him. This is how he responded. So Donald J. Trump on his Truth Social feed reposted this AI video. Pay very close attention. So that is Donald Trump depicting himself as, again, a crowned king and a fighter jet pilot, and he is smiling as he drops feces on protesters, and not just protesters, which would be bad enough, but on Americans. That was New York City. He didn't just drop it on Harry Sisson, who's a Democratic pundit and Gen Z commentator. We'll get to his reaction in a minute, but anyone nearby, dropping feces and sewage on New York City, on Americans, simply for protesting him, simply for disagreeing with him. I want to make it very clear here. This is incredibly important. Donald Trump hates this country. Donald Trump hates you. Donald Trump hates your loved ones. There's no point in pretending otherwise. We've never seen a president this hostile to not just criticism and critics, but also anyone who is not cultishly devoted to him. Harry Sisson points out, the plane wouldn't have made it off the ground with your fat ass in the pilot's seat. And this is in response to Rapid Response 47, which is an official Trump page, laughing as they repost the AI image as well. Harry Sisson says, can a reporter please ask Trump why he posted an AI video of himself dropping poop on me from a fighter jet? That would be great. Thanks. And with all due respect to Harry, whom I like, I think the broader point is it wasn't just Harry. It would be bad enough if it were Harry, given that Harry is an American citizen who has every right to protest the sitting president of the United States. So it would have been wrong, for example, for Joe Biden or Barack Obama to repost an AI video of them dropping feces and sewage on a MAGA protester, right? Because again, the president shouldn't be viewing people of the opposite party who are protesting him in that way. But it wasn't just Harry Sisson. It was anybody in the vicinity. It was New York writ large that Trump was quite literally shitting on in that video. The contempt is palpable. People talk about how liberals are elitist and how liberals look down on red states and whatever. I'm sorry. I reject that wholeheartedly. As somebody who grew up in a red rural state, I assure you the contempt cuts both ways. Are there liberals who are contemptuous of conservatives? Yes. But there are conservatives who are contemptuous of liberals, who talk shit about blue cities, blue state. Oh, New York City, that place sucks. They ain't American there. They're a bunch of communists and they hate this country. California, that's just communist Marxist hellhole. It cuts both ways, but people only ever talk about the one and the other. And we shouldn't do that. If we're going to talk about contempt, then we have to talk about the contempt that MAGA has for liberals, progressives, blue cities, blue states, Democrats, and we need to have an honest accounting rather than liberals just saying, yeah, oh, gosh, golly gee, we need to engage in some self-reflection, and we need to do it as a country. But here's the real difference. Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Hillary Clinton, Hillary basket of deplorables, Hillary Clinton, never demonstrated her contempt and her hate for the American people, assuming she had it, which I don't believe she did, but let's say she did. She has never been this explicit. And Donald Trump does it every day. He openly says he hates half this country. He hates Democrats. He says it explicitly on camera, in speeches. Donald Trump hates this country. He hates Americans. He hates America. And on this notion of no kings, you have Trump official pages reposting Trump with crowns on his head. This is the Trump War Room Twitter page. What's worse, the White House Twitter page has a portrait of Donald Trump, an AI portrait of Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, becrowned as, I don't know if they're king and king or king and queen, or I don't know if like they're a couple or something like that. I don't know what it is, but and then of course, because you have to have some racism in there, then it shows Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer wearing sombreros. This is the official White House Twitter page. We're built different. Have a good night, everyone, with a crown. Now, I want to gauge the reaction of this because, again, if this is the expectation, then Democrats moving forward, Democratic candidates, they might need to re-examine their own rhetoric when it comes to engaging with the other side. Because, again, I'm not running for office, so I can say this, but if there's right-wingers and MAGA in the audience, number one, be sure to like and subscribe. But number two, explain to me why it would be impermissible for the next Democratic president or presidential candidate not to treat you all the same way that Trump treats the people who disagree with him. Do you really want a Democratic president? Could you handle a Democratic president giving you a fraction of the shit, pun intended, that Donald Trump gives Democrats, liberals, and progressives? Because maybe that's what it takes. Maybe it will take somebody like a President Gavin Newsom openly mocking and belittling and trolling the half of the country that didn't vote for him, enacting policies to go after red states and red counties. Is that what it's going to take to have an epiphany where it's like, oh my God, we can't do this anymore? Because Democrats have never done this, not just in terms of style, but of substance. We have never done that. Trump routinely is targeting funding during this government shutdown, attacking blue cities and blue states. During previous government shutdowns, when Republicans shut down the government under President Obama didn't go, okay, well, I'm going to really turn the screws to red states. I'm really going to stick it to the red states to punish their Republican representatives who are trying to screw me over in this shutdown. He never did that because Barack Obama is objectively morally superior to Donald Trump. He's just a better person. Trump is morally inferior to literally every Democrat on earth. Is it going to take, is that where we're heading here? Because I certainly don't think it is feasible, and I don't think it is productive for us to continue this cycle where you have vicious, cruel, anti-American monsters like Donald Trump treating this country with contempt, and there's a different set of rules. We have to play the game of politics, the game of decorum, the game of civility, the game of expectation by the same set of rules. And whether MAGA realizes it or not, they are absolutely setting the stage. Eventually, it will happen. Maybe not the next election, maybe not the one after that, but eventually, there will be a Democratic president who takes a page, more than a page, multiple pages, perhaps 80% of the playbook of Donald Trump, but just flips the target. Do you want that? This is why everyone should be condemning this shit. Again, pun intended. Have the disagreements on policy, but Trump is literally attacking people, his own constituents. I'm sorry, but this is something deeply wrong with your brain if you like this guy. It's as simple as that. He's just the epitome of pure trashiness. As a once proud American, I'm embarrassed that any U.S. citizen would post such a video, let alone the president of our country. The press will ask a few Republicans about this video, and they'll claim they haven't seen it, and the story will blow over within 24 hours, where if any other American politician in the last 50 years did anything like this, it would be in the first paragraph of their obituary, right? So they would be remembered for it once they died. Brian Schatz, a Democratic senator, but seriously, why would the president post an image on the internet of him airdropping feces on American cities? And again, with all due respect to Senator Schatz, I wish he would have just deleted cities and put Americans. Trump is dropping shit on Americans in that video. Citizens, people. Matt McDermott, the wildest part about the largest protest in American history is that the president's response was to post a video literally proving the point of the protest. Indeed. It remains so heartbreakingly embarrassing that this country elected this man twice to the fucking presidency. Rando person with vaguely lefty politics posts one lightly insulting thing towards conservative Americans and it becomes a national scandal. The president of the United States uses taxpayer money to generate a video of himself literally shitting on his constituents. And what? Indeed. I want to save that post. That's a really good... That gets down to it in a nutshell. If your kid posted this, you'd sit them down for a talk. Very normal thing for a president to post. Bailout for Argentina while American farmers suffer. Healthcare costs soar as the super rich get more tax cuts. Out of control corruption. He and his family enrich themselves while pushing your cultural buttons with nonsense. Wake up, MAGA. This is what Trump does to you. He's not funny and he's not well. Miles Taylor, who used to work for Donald Trump, by the way, the U.S. president posting this video of him literally shitting on his own citizens for protesting sums up his perspective on the First Amendment. Ahmed Baba, nearly 7 million Americans just peacefully protested Trump, showcasing his political weakness and contradicting his false narratives of violence. Meanwhile, his team is posting AI slop depicting him in a crown, literally shitting on Americans. You tell me which side won the day. And I should tell you, on the Sunday morning shows, like, for example, Jonathan Karl of ABC, who's a mixed bag, he interviewed Mike Johnson earlier today. And as far as I am aware, did not ask Mike Johnson about this, even though this was posted yesterday, so he had plenty of time. This is part of the problem. The mainstream media, which likes to both sides issues, they'll occasionally ask Republicans tough questions, to be sure. And Jonathan Karl did ask Mike Johnson tough questions. But do you think, again, if ABC News' Jonathan Karl was talking to a Democratic politician and a Democratic president posted something like this about Republicans, do you think Jonathan Karl wouldn't ask that person about, hey, President Biden posted this really weird AI video of him literally dumping feces on people for protesting him. What do you have to say about that, Mr. Democratic politician? So he should be doing that for the Republicans, but he's not, and this is part of the problem. Trump is graded on a curve, not just by right-wing media, but by mainstream media. That's part of the problem. We got to both sides it. We can't be, we can't be uneven. No, you got to be objective. And when one side or one party is objectively worse than the other, then it should be reflected in your reporting, you moron. Shameful. Sarah Longwell, never Trump Republican, one of the founders of the Bulwark. I think it's clear who actually hates America. Indeed. And so on and so forth. So again, like, this is stunning, even by Republican standards. Trump shit, again, if you just Google all sorts of reactions to it. Any media outlets that don't address the video of Trump wearing a crown and dumping shit on Americans is normalizing it. As with everything else this authoritarian regime does, you're either calling it out or normalizing it. There is no third option. Anyone want to take on any bets on how many op-eds are published by legacy outlets about Trump posting an AI video of himself dumping shit on Americans who are protesting? I mean, I don't know. People should be talking about it more. So again, like, folks, I just wanted to drive this point home again. If you look at Trump's sewage, Trump's shit, all sorts of reactions to it. The New York Post calls it wild. Again, this is a conservative outlet. I will be interested to see what, if any, conservatives react to this, because for the most part, they just don't. They tolerate it. But I want to be very clear. It is an objective fact that Donald Trump hates this country. It's also an objective fact that Trump is morally inferior to any Democratic politician. And we need to start calling this out. And again, we also need to start having a conversation. What does the future of the presidency look like post-Trump, once he leaves office after the end of his second term, or after, he tries to seize power and for a third and fourth term, whatever. In the age post-Trump, what are Democrats and Republicans going to do moving forward, and how are they going to finally address, because there has to be accountability, what has happened to the presidency and the contempt from this man against the American people? We're going to have to address that. There's going to have to be some sort of truth and reconciliation program. And I'll tell you what, I will not support a Democratic politician who does not seek to address this. If I get a Democratic candidate who says, listen, we just got to sweep it under the rug and cross our fingers and hope moving forward that the Republican politicians in the Trump age stop acting like assholes, you're not going to get my vote, and they shouldn't get your vote either. We should demand accountability. We should demand acknowledgement of this. We'll see what happens. But in the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.